Welcome. Today, we're taking a look at something that, honestly, everyone thinks they understand, but almost no one actually does. We are completely demystifying the wealth and the massive empire of Elon Musk. Okay, let's dive into this.
Now, here is the thing that nobody tells you about Elon Musk. He's never really been the richest man in the world. Well, not in the way you might think anyway. When you hear his name, this is the number that instantly pops into your head, right? 200 billion, 300 billion, whatever it happens to be today. Just look at all those zeros. It is an almost unfathomable amount of money.
But we need to shatter a massive illusion right now. That number, it's not sitting in some giant vault somewhere. It's not stashed in a high-yield savings account. He literally cannot just pull out his debit card and spend it. In fact, if he tried to spend most of it, he'd break everything he's built. It is not liquid cash.
So the crucial point is, what Elon Musk actually built is something far more fascinating and honestly way more complex than traditional wealth. He built a machine, specifically a machine for generating the perception of wealth. And once you understand how this specific machine operates, I promise you, you will never look at billionaires the exact same way again. To really get it, we have to trace his journey chronologically and see exactly how his early failures directly shaped this entire empire.
Musk started out as a kid in the 1980s in Pretoria, South Africa, with this incredible underlying impulse, the sheer desire to turn absolutely nothing into money. Let's breeze through these early milestones really quick, because the pattern here is what's truly important. By age 12, he codes a video game called Blastar and sells it for $500. Fast forward to 1995, he drops out of a Stanford PhD program after literally 2 days because he sees the internet blowing up. He builds a simple online map directory called Zip2, sells it, and walks away with $22 million. Now, most people, they'd retire right there. Instead, he pours almost all of it into his next venture, X.com, which eventually merges into PayPal. And when eBay buys PayPal in 2002, Musk collects a cool $180 million.
But here is the major turning point. He's 30 years old. He has $180 million. But he has already been fired from 2 of his own companies. He was even pushed out as CEO of PayPal by his own board while he was on his honeymoon. Ouch, right? But this past failure was a massive, massive lesson. It taught him that if you just build software or apps, a board can easily snatch it away from you. He realized he needed to stop building just software and start building hard, physical infrastructure.
So in the early 2000s, he takes his millions and actually tries to buy refurbished ICBMs from Russia. And guess what? They laughed him right out of the room. Furious, he flew home, did the math on a napkin, and poured $100 million of his own money directly into his new company, SpaceX, in 2002. Then in 2004, he co-founds Tesla and puts $70 million into that. He follows it right up with SolarCity, just more money out the door. He was investing absolutely everything into the hardest possible infrastructure you can imagine. And because of this wild bet, by 2008, he was nearly broke. Both companies were teetering on the absolute edge of complete failure. SpaceX had already failed its first 3 rocket launches. The 4th launch, that was a last-ditch attempt. If it failed, the company was entirely done, and he flat out told his team this. The atmosphere in the control room was described as the kind of quiet that only happens when everyone has stopped pretending. It was completely do or die. The rocket launches. It reaches orbit. SpaceX survives. Weeks later, NASA awards them a $1.6 billion contract, and Tesla barely scrapes by to close a funding round on Christmas Eve. The empire survived. Post-2010, the empire really starts to scale. Musk built an ecosystem where the real leverage is narrative. To wrap our heads around this, we need to define how billionaire wealth actually works. You know, when you or I have money, it's liquid, it's cash in the bank. When Elon Musk has wealth, 90% of it is stock. And the critical thing about stock is that its price is not based on what the company is actually worth today in liquid cash. No, it is based entirely on what the market believes the company will be worth in the future. And this brilliantly illustrates that mechanism in action. In 2020, Tesla was worth more than Toyota, Volkswagen, General Motors, Ford, and BMW combined. Seriously, think about that for a second. Toyota alone sold 10 times more cars than Tesla, and Tesla was actively burning through cash. Yet the stock just kept going up. Why? Because investors weren't buying a car company. They were buying a story of autonomous driving, robotics, and limitless energy. The story itself is the asset. So, how exactly do you protect a story? Well, you make yourself the story. Step 1, become the mythology. The memes, the late-night tweets, it's all highly calculated marketing for a larger-than-life mythology. Step 2, elevate the stock. This mythology keeps retail investors and the market believing, which keeps the stock elevated. Step 3, borrow against it. See, he can't sell the stock without crashing the price. So instead, banks lend him billions using his shares as collateral. He gets the liquid cash he needs to fund his empire without ever having to sell a single share. The Twitter interpretation split. This brings us to the incredibly chaotic $44 billion acquisition of Twitter, now known as X. This is where failure and strategy become practically indistinguishable. Look, there are 2 entirely objective ways to read this deal. Side A,
Musk overpaid for a declining asset, mismanaged it badly, and destroyed billions of dollars in real time. Side B, he acquired a massive global public communications platform, integrated it with his AI company, and positioned it as critical infrastructure for the future. The really uncomfortable truth here, both of these interpretations can be true simultaneously. The market just hasn't decided yet.
Let's move to 2025 and see how this builds. Just look at what one man controls right now. Rockets launching astronauts, the best-selling electric vehicles on the planet, brain-computer interfaces implanted in human patients, a tunnel boring company, an AI lab competing with the absolute biggest tech giants, a social media platform used daily by heads of state, and a global satellite internet network providing connectivity to active war zones. This isn't just a business portfolio anymore, guys. It is a parallel civilization. He literally controls more strategic infrastructure right now than most national governments.
Which leaves us with this final, massive structural question to sit with. Is Elon Musk history's greatest entrepreneur? A man who willed impossible things into existence through sheer refusal to quit when he was failing? Or is he the ultimate product of a hyper-aggressive financial system that rewards narrative over fundamentals? The honest answer? It's probably both. And if he is both, then this massive, totally unprecedented empire was never truly his alone to build. And if it ever starts to fall, it won't be his alone to lose.